garage walkthrough take 2. Right, that's the general state of affairs. Quite messy. It's a lot better than when we moved in. 2 shelf thingies. One's Kallax and one's an Expedit. These are going to go under my workbench eventually. But because they're 2 different models, there's like a 2 centimetre difference in height, which is a pain. It's full of just crap. Baby thing, lawnmower box. Old bits of bed that we don't use anymore. Shelves with all kinds of chemicals and some bike parts on. A lot of these chemicals I salvaged from my grandparents' house, which they don't live in anymore because they are dead, and my sister lives there. Open the window and let some light in. That's the the window shutter system that my dad made. Well, it's more, he made it more as an anti-theft thing. Just loads of, this is kind of like in a state of, a sort of interim state, because we haven't really done much since we moved in, so this is just like boxes of stuff, camping and bags and panniers and stuff. Bags and panniers, an old, like, that's a bathroom cabinet from our old flat, a box of handlebars. If anyone wants any handlebars, let me know, I've got loads. Wheels, some good, some not good. This is where the bikes hang. This is the system I built, made of a scaffolding pole held up by another scaffolding pole on a scaffolding pole foot, and the bikes hang on these little hooks that I just got from B&Q, which happen to perfectly fit over a scaffolding pole, and it's kind of like a wardrobe for bikes, and they can slide, so you put the least used ones in the corner where you can't get them, and the most used ones kind of in the middle, where I can get to them. So that's how that works. Oh yeah, there's electrical stuff, but there's no actual electrical connection. It's not my garage, it was a rented house. Tyres and wheels and more wheels and stuff. This is the kind of workbench area, and tools and stuff. More boxes of crap, but eventually this area with a wall is going to have a tool wall on, although I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it, because it's not very nice concrete to drill into, so I'm probably going to have to build a sort of floor standing frame and then just bolt it on at the top, on, as in just put a hole through the whole tool wall thing, slot it onto these bolts that go through the entire concrete structure, and then just tie it on. So basically you're just sort of standing against the wall and stopping it from falling forwards. That's an old IKEA worktop for the workbench top, and I'm going to build a proper workbench underneath. That's a plan from the internet that I found that's pretty good. So part of it's going to be supported by the worktop bottom, and part of it's going to be supported by those IKEA units over here. So it's actually quite long for a workbench, and quite narrow because it's a kitchen worktop. But it'll do, and it's covered in like really shittily organised tools and fertiliser and shit, basically. Okay, there's a box here which mainly contains tools that I salvaged from my grandparents, which is why I'm doing this. There's a mix of good and bad, and that box is obviously full of metal, and it just ripped when I tried to pull it. I'll try and pull out the more interesting ones. This is a Stanley shaping plane. Stanley Shaper 491. It's quite nice. Well, the blade is the removable part, but it's all gummed up with what looks like possibly paint. And the blades, according to the internet, are hen's teeth. Stuff like old, probably not very exciting tenon saws, a box of, there you go, you don't see that much anymore, film canisters to store little bits and bobs. This kind of like axe, there's nothing special, as far as I know, I don't know. Things like Marple's mitre clamp in weirdly battered condition, because apparently my granddad just used it for making picture frames. What's this axe? Elwelly? Is that good? Don't know. Someone tell me. Like builders, like bricklaying trowels and shit like that I'm never going to use. This is interesting and quite nice though. Stanley number 4 plane. Obviously in its box. It's been used. Quite a bit of corrosion there. If I just give that a decent sharpen, and the lacquer's coming off this handle. Give that a decent sharpen, it should come up quite nice. Flatten the base. Not that I sound like I know what I'm talking about, but I absolutely do not. What else is in here that's nice? There was a chisel that I thought was decent, but it isn't on a closer inspection. Oh yeah, hang on. This is more of the stuff that isn't really tools, just kind of random stuff. Some really weird stuff. That's a thing for an IKEA floating shelf, this black thing, by the way. I don't know why someone would put a floating shelf in the garage, but an very old school, completely evaporated thing of plus gas that I just got because tin looks kind of cool. A shitload of, like how old, people used to keep screws and stuff in old tobacco tins, so I've got about 20 or 30 of these tobacco tins with, what's in here? Can't even read that. Electrics, junctions and staples. Alright, okay. Just like loads of these tins. This thing is a Black & Decker. I thought, oh, it's a circular saw, but it's not. It's a circular saw attachment. You stick your drill in there, and the drill is the motor. This just provides sort of a housing and the blades. Although it's missing a piece, so I can't actually get it working. An old oil stone, which just looks like it's been covered in crap. But obviously my granddad's made a sort of holder for it. And somewhere in there is a vice that's in somewhat tatty condition, but I think it'll clean up. Things like cigar boxes for keeping old bits in. You don't see that anymore. And that could be the bolt that's missing. Okay. Bye.